All right, and we're live. Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast. I am your host, Chris Kirkwood, and also known as Kirkdiese, and I'm here with my two boys, Brett Hartfield, KillaB2482, and JSURab, John Sarabian. What's going on, fellas? It's Saboner night, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, Chris is in rare form for us tonight, so I'm pretty excited for this podcast. We got a little 3-game NBA slate, and the Saints got upset by the Cowboys. So interesting start to Week 13, fellas.
But the man who came through for everyone is Keith Kirkwood. Just gotta say that.
Yeah. I had him in my FanDuel, so I played the second half, whatever the one half contest.
What are you doing?
Oh, I just saw it, and I actually saw it on Twitter, so I'm like, I gotta check this out. And I did have Kirkwood in the I forget what they call it. It's not the captain spot. It's something else, but it's the 1.5x. And then I took him out last second, put Michael Thomas in. But yeah, I think I tied with like a million other people with the same lineup, so it wasn't that great.
So JSU, what's happening?
I hate Darren Collison. That's all I want to say right now.
Well, he salvaged for you in the second quarter. I mean,
no. I hate him. I hate him from 2 nights ago when he ruined my night.
So do you have him tonight or no?
Yes, I do, and I hate myself for it too.
But at least he came back for you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
He went to school out there. It's a little bit of a college homecoming for him, so he should come back. All right. If we could talk NBA, I would actually probably prefer that, to be honest with you. You guys want to turn this into an NBA pod?
No.
All right. Anyway, I'm just going to toot my own horn here, even though I didn't play it because I always do this. But I did call Kenyon Drake last week. I did say you run Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hill, and you run it back with Kenyon Drake. I wish I did that. I would probably have more money in my account.
Yeah, and I wish I got the right Pittsburgh receiver. I got the right cornerback to pick on. I called Bradley Roby. He just, for some reason, played Juju most of the game and got burnt.
Yeah, so I want to say the Steelers were really intelligent about that. They barely played Juju in the slot. They kind of put him out wide, so to avoid the Chris Harris defense. And then that's, I think Chris Harris, he got maybe 1 catch off of Chris Harris, and then the rest were on the outside. So pretty smart for Pittsburgh to plan that out.
Yeah, and Ben missed them twice on 2 more 70, 80-yard bombs or whatever they were. He could have had a monster day, and he did have a monster day, but could have.
Right. Real quick, I'm just going to go off and say I hate football. I hate NFL. I thought I had the nuts going into the 4 o'clock game. I started out with my lineup. I'm trying to pull it up here, but it had everyone. It had Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, Winston, DJ Moore, and Tyler Boyd. And I'm sitting there with Marlon Mack, Cortland Sutton, and I was thinking about pivoting off of him and the Colts D, and just, in striking distance of everything. And then, man, it was just never had a prayer.
We need to call these segments something like Misery Corner with Chris Kirkwood.
It was awful.
The bad
awful.
Beats of the week.
NBA is a print fest, so I love NBA.
I got the baddest beat of the week. No one can even come close to my beat this week. It's not even close.
Let's hear
it. With 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter of the very last game on Tuesday night, I think it was, I'm in second place in a tournament on DraftKings to win $30K, and all I need them to do is not throw the ball from the inbounds to Darren Collison for a steal. And what happens? They heave the ball 3/4 court right into Darren Collison's hands, and game over. I go to 5th place and lose $25K.
That's brutal.
So that's why I hate Darren
anybody
Collison.
Deserves that, it's you. All right, I'm just going to tell you.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
He was nice to you, though. He missed his 2 free throws at the end of the game.
He did miss his 2 free throws. You shouldn't even have the ball.
True.
All right, let's so we got some games here. We got 13 of them, lucky number 13. So there's some big totals here. We've got the game that looks pretty tasty to me is the Panthers-Bucks. So I'm see how much money I can lose in that game. And then we also have the Raiders who have to play the Chiefs, who should just demolish them, but that's a monster total of 55. And then just a bunch of kind of like interesting spots. Maybe we'll get some takes here on the Patriots game if there's any plays in that game. But are there any other? What game are you guys like keying in on?
I mean, nothing in particular. I guess I'm focusing on certain teams. I do want to invest quite a bit in the Rams stacks this week in Detroit. Just kind of mark that as a spot where I love all three of these wide receivers: Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, and Josh Reynolds. And Reynolds got all the snaps again last week. So in 2 full games this year.
How much does DraftKings pay for snaps?
you hate when I bring up snaps. But in 2 full games, the only 2 games where Cooper Kupp's been out for the full games and he's manned the slot, he's gotten 5 red zone targets. So this is a spot where I know JSU always likes to talk about Snacks Harris being pretty strong on Detroit stopping the run. And I kind of agree, but Detroit has been exposed through the air, and I think the Rams are going to really get off through the air here. I still think Gurley has a decent to good game, but I just really want to invest in the passing. And Jared Goff with multiple wide receivers makes a lot of sense.
Yes, Snacks, man. He's a monster. Definitely a good idea to attack this team through the air. I mean, Gurley's price is high too. I don't know, though. I feel like this is one of those weeks where if you're looking at the running backs, Gurley is, people are going to go to McCaffrey. I feel like Gurley could be not, a little under-owned from what we're usually looking at every week on Gurley. So I'm not saying it's somewhere I'm definitely going to go, but in tournaments, I think it's a good idea, pivoting off some of the chalk, which I think, Robert Woods and Cooks might be a little higher owned. Wouldn't we agree? I think people are going to attack that. That's my opinion on it. I think that Todd Gurley is going to be less owned than Robert Woods.
I would assume they're all going to be somewhat popular. I guess price-wise, I feel like Gurley's in a good spot. I know over on FanDuel he's now come down underneath the 10K spot. And then you do have the huge price increase in Christian McCaffrey. But I think a lot of people are going to be on McCaffrey. Obviously, you had Chris talk about that game right off the bat, and then we saw McCaffrey go 100, both running and receiving. So I think he's going to be popular just with the last week bias. I can see myself buying maybe a little bit more Gurley for sure in tournaments, though.
So guys, the matchup to attack is Nevin Lawson. Usually runs in the slot. Robert Woods is probably going to see him most of when he lines up in the slot, which most of the time I'm pretty sure now, with Kupp out. So that's definitely, in my opinion, that's the best of the 3 options probably this week. And we all know I'm a Brandon Cooks mark. But Cooks will be on the outside most of the game. He'll probably see a lot of Slay. Not that he can't beat Slay, but I do respect Slay. I think he's still a good corner. And Robert Woods, I think, is going to run most of his routes out of the slot. So I definitely like that matchup. I like that he's going to be in there against the cornerback that I want to attack. So that's my preferred spot for a wideout from that team.
Yeah, Slay hasn't been unbelievably he hasn't been that great this year, so it's not something like that I would stay away. But you're right. Path of least resistance would probably make you go Robert Woods.
Yeah, this Woods should have a huge day. Josh Reynolds, we've seen this guy just get touchdowns. Went out with Cooper Kupp gone, so you have to like that matchup too, and for a cheaper price. And then in this game, you gotta. I mean, how many targets is Golladay going to get?
Yeah, I mean, their offense is very focused, right? I mean, they're with basically most of their offense is not on this team anymore.
And LeGarrette Blount is not going to be helping them this week.
No. Yeah, I mean, I have a decent amount of interest for Galladay, but I think this is a guy that I'd rather fade in tournaments and then buy him in cash, which obviously is kind of weird to do, but I just think he's got a high floor. Obviously, he can bust when we've seen him bust it before preseason, and he's getting tons of targets. It's just I know ownership's going to be high on Galladay.
If you're stacking this game though, and you want to bring it back, who's the one guy you're looking at? He's it.
Yeah, it's Galladay or Riddick. I mean, those are the only two.
And a sneaky tight end play is Michael Roberts if Talib comes back, and maybe they're going to force feed Galladay just because they have to. Ellington's probably going to get a lot of targets, a lot of 2-yard targets, and but Michael Roberts is like a sneaky deep tight end play, I think.
Yeah, is there a game that you guys are – because, I mean, this is one of the first games I looked at as being okay, I want quite a bit of ownership in that game. Obviously, we're now going to be in December here, so kind of worried more about weather each week. So it's I want to get domed games. There's plenty of, dome and good weather games, so you really don't have to worry about it too much this week.
The game that sticks out to me is the Cam Panthers and the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of that too. I think I have both wide receivers that I want to get some exposure to. And you're going to hate that I'm going to bring up Curtis Samuel's snap count, but Samuel basically saw 54 of 59 snaps last week. And Torrey Smith was back last week. So I don't know if Torrey.
But Devin Funchess is probably going to be back.
Correct. So keep an eye, obviously, on the Funchess status. But, I still expect Samuel to have a role, and then Torrey Smith to kind of be the odd man out there, with DJ Moore for sure being a starter also.
DJ Moore is the number one now.
Yeah, he's
awesome.
Definitely. I love him. I still think, obviously, McCaffrey's a great play. Cam. Greg Olsen at 4,100, I don't hate, especially against this Tampa defense. But really, that's really it for me. With Funchess back, I think I'm probably this week in tournaments going to actually, even though I love Moore and I think he's the best receiver on the team, talent-wise, I think I might be fading a little bit more and playing more Funchess. I don't know what you guys think about that. I just think Funchess will be lower owned for sure. I think he's forgotten.
Yeah, and as he should be probably forgotten, because even the games that he was healthy and playing, he really didn't have a big game whatsoever. So I think if Funchess is healthy, I will not have any want to roster a Greg Olsen, just because that'll hurt Greg Olsen's touchdown equity in the red zone. So
yeah, but you have to say that it's just as good of a matchup for him as it is for everyone else. You know what I mean? Devin Funchess, as much as you might not like him, really we've seen a lot of wide receivers beat up this Tampa Bay secondary. So can Devin Funchess do it? I mean,
when's the last time you saw Funchess take a major pass to the house or catch a long touchdown?
That's not his game, but he's $5K on DraftKings. I can take 7 targets for 70 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? I can take that, but I obviously would want DJ Moore to flop and everything like that. But I'm just saying, why couldn't he have 20 points? Why couldn't he have 25 points? It's the matchup that we're targeting. It's the ownership. It's the leverage. We're looking for pivots.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I would look at the other side of the ball for Chris Godwin again. I'm all about Chris Godwin.
I see your Chris Godwin, and I raise you Deshaun Jackson.
No, last year he closed with a phenomenal December, and I'm still banking on Godwin taking over. Now this team's kind of obviously out of playoff chance. They gotta sit down Deshaun for sure, because Deshaun's.
Oh no way! So Dante Jackson is the speed guy on the Panthers, and he went out last week on the first play. If he's out again, They don't have anyone to match Deshaun's speed, and it's touchdown time for Deshaun. I was wrong like a week or two ago, whenever it was, against the Giants or whatever. But this time I'm going to be right.
Hey, I'm loyal. I'm loyal to my boy Godwin. All right, to a fault. Like I still think at 3,900 he can take the top off of a defense just like Deshaun.
Collison's going nuts, by the way.
More or less.
Problem is, can he connect on a deep ball?
Yeah, that's a problem.
Jameis can't like he can't do it. I've been rostering Deshaun Jackson every week pretty much for the first 10 weeks of the season. And he's killing us after the first 2 or 3 weeks when Fitzpatrick was throwing him those bombs. But Jameis is just killing him. He's killing everyone throwing deep balls. He can't hit anybody.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where I'm just hoping to have it happen once or twice here down the stretch. But I think Godwin more or less at that price point, and I think enough people have gotten burned by Godwin that his ownership will still be 5 to 7%. So I'm good with taking that ownership for sure.
All right, so a game that I think is interesting in the standpoint that I feel like it's some pieces are going to get overlooked is the KC Oakland game.
Let's talk about that because I'm scared. Yeah. I'm scared of that game.
But wait, so I have a sneaky feeling that the KC passing offense is just going to be kind of overlooked ownership-wise. I feel like everyone thinks it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a blowout. Everyone wants to roster Kareem Hunt.
I'm pretty sure the last time they were favored by 14, you kind of had the same take where everybody's going to be on Kareem Hunt and you should be looking at the wide receivers. Exactly. Was it just 3 weeks?
And they all ended up having good games. Tyreek
had a monster.
But he was 5% owned. It was the Arizona game. This was 3 weeks ago. It was the Arizona game, right? Everyone was on Kareem Hunt.
Sounds right.
Okay, but Tyreek Hill had 2 touchdowns and 100.
Tyreek's an automatic for the first half, right? He's gonna score an 80-yard touchdown, right? It's gonna.
Listen, the first team offense is gonna play almost 3 quarters, no matter what. So I'm banking on 3 quarters of Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I think Pat Mahomes is a better play on DraftKings, obviously, but in tournaments, you got to have a little Pat Mahomes. You got to have a KC stack with some wide receivers. You can have Kareem Hunt in the stack too, but just don't forget about these guys like Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Pat Mahomes.
It looks like Sammy Watkins is highly questionable too. He's not practicing as of Thursday. So if he's out, obviously Conley steps into a nice role at 3,800. I agree. Tyreek Hill will be not highly owned, and I think it's going to be more to the price tag of 9,100. When you're getting up up at that price range, you're going to be buying running backs instead of a 9,100 Tyreek Hill. He's almost 1,000 more than the next wide receiver, which is
this is my DeMarcus Robinson week. This is the one. This is when it's going to happen.
I was waiting for you to bring him up.
It's going to happen. This is the spot. Oh my God! I just realized it. It's whenever Watkins is down and then people want Conley, but you want the 4th receiver. So when Watkins was in and then Conley went off, when Watkins was still in, he was active, whatever, that game, even though he only played a play. But DeMarcus Robinson, I know he's going to break one of these days. Going to have to catch that. All right. Everyone else who's listening, don't catch that.
Chris, you had a moment there. You were just oh my gosh, it is DeMarcus Robinson.
He had an epiphany. He had an epiphany, and he wanted everyone else to know that. Yeah.
These are kind of the deep plays. These are the worlds I swim around in.
Play with those pivots. Here we go.
Talk about Travis Kelce though, because this is the guy I'm worried about, right? It's the nut matchup.
Yeah. I feel like if we look at the tight end position in general, this might be the chalkiest week for a tight end on DraftKings with Eric Ebron. I think everybody's going to go to him. I know we've had some chalky tight end weeks so far this year, but this one really stands out, I feel like, on an island. So, yeah, paying up to Travis Kelce makes a lot of sense if you want to get lower. Like Kelce might only be 10 to 15% owned, and that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. Like when he should be. I mean, as one of the top tight ends every week, he should be at least 20% or more owned.
The Raiders allow by far the most yards per target to the position, and they're awful. This is the best matchup you can get. So, I mean, if they want to, he could absolutely eat. But everybody can eat in this game.
That's the thing. So it's like you have to have exposure to these guys. Just do not forget them. Do not leave them out.
Right, and with some target share possibly being opened up, right? I mean, that's nice for Kelce for sure.
I mean, we could get a close game with Doug Martin, the resurgence of Doug Martin.
Well, hey, if you think it's going to be close, then you should really bring it back with some Doug Martin, Chris.
Yeah.
On that.
No, thank you. All right, so that covers that game. Let's. Well, unless you guys have something to add.
Yeah, well, I'll just say. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. I'm gonna get a game.
I was just gonna say this. If you were gonna bring it back with the Oakland guy, this Marcel Aitman's been getting a lot of reps. So I feel like he's
reps. We've got snaps and reps.
Yeah. So last two games he's played 65 out of 68 snaps, 5 targets. I don't have his targets for the last week for whatever reason, but
I saw him popping in models today. And honestly, I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have even noticed until this past week. I was like, who is this guy that's getting all these snaps and targets? And I don't know if it's a name that I can click outside of like maybe some Kansas City and then just bring it back with him. But I don't know if I can punt with him. That's for sure.
All right, glad we stopped the show for that guy. Yeah. All right, let's talk about New England, John. I want to know one thing from you. First of all, you're supposed to have the inside word on Gronk. He now hits the injury report again today. We had one day where he was clean, and then now he's back on there with his back.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. Pretty much from what I've been told, Gronk has not been working out. When I say working out, like he's been at practice, he's been, doing the drills and stuff, but he hasn't been like actually working out his normal workout routines. He hasn't been doing that. He's not fully recovered. So biggest thing here is he's gonna play. He's good to play, but he's obviously not 100% if he's not doing his normal workout routines, if he's not doing there's just things that he's not doing that he would normally be doing, but he's obviously limited in some capacity because he's just getting treatment because he's not 100%. So for me, it's like Gronk to me is a guy where if I was to pay 6 or 7K, which is his normal price on like DK, I wouldn't do it. But at 5,400, you can still look to him because he's obviously still good enough. He's going against a lot of single coverage. He's not seeing as much, double coverage or bracket as he usually does because they have Josh Gordon on one side. And I think also the Vikings, they had a bunch of guys on the injury report. I think one of them was Xavier Rhodes. I don't think he practiced.
So his ham, it looked bad. He went out with his hamstring. I don't think he's going to play.
Looked like that shot in the leg.
That's huge too because
for Mr. Josh Gordon.
For Mr. Josh Gordon and for Gronk, because normally what they do is they single out Rhodes on the outside against the team's best receiver, and they just go one-on-one. And that's what they did with Devontae Adams, and that's what they always do with Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams always crushes him. But now, I don't know, will they do that? Will they just single out their number 2 corner against Josh Gordon, or are they going to have help for him? And if they have help for him, then Gronk's going to be one of the guys.
They're just going to put Trey Waynes on him.
Yeah, but are they going to single him up? They literally leave Rhodes on an island when they play number one wide receivers. I don't see them leaving Trey. If they leave Trey Waynes on an island with Josh Gordon, that's a matchup I want to attack all day. But I don't see them doing that. I don't know. Brett, do you have an idea?
I mean, I do like this game in general. But yeah, I think with no Xavier Rhodes, Josh Gordon would be the guy that I'd want the most exposure to. Again,
I don't really like this game.
I'm surprised. Really? I like
That's
this
interesting. I like this game too. And I think the most mispriced player on the slate is in this game.
Dude, we're gonna see the Vikings just try to slow it down. We're gonna see the Pats run the ball too much. I just don't see the upside with like Brady in the passing game anymore, and I don't feel comfortable with Gronk right now. Like especially what you're saying. Yeah, he had that one touchdown that was like kind of lucky that he made a phenomenal catch on, but like he didn't have like a ton of opportunities, and I don't think they're gonna use him a ton. It would be Josh Gordon would be the guy I like, and obviously I like Diggs a little bit, and Thielen, sure, but I don't know. I just feel like the Patriots are going to run so much in this game, even though it's a tough run defense.
I personally, I see what you're saying. I personally love Kirk Cousins. I think he's mispriced at 5,500 on DraftKings. That's too cheap for me. He's a guy. He's just coming off a 30-point game against Green Bay. He could easily outdo that price. It's just. To me, I'm definitely going to have some Kirk Cousins in my lineups.
Yeah, he's like my second quarterback that I have marked up here for sure. Yeah. So at his price tag of 5,500, and now you're starting to see some movement between quarterbacks. You have Mahomes all the way priced up at 7,600. So there are some interesting price tier gaps now. Even Cam Newton at 6,600. I mean, obviously Cam is going to have the higher floor here, but I don't know. I really like this spot for the Vikings pass in New England. I think they're going to be forced to pass, and we know where those balls are going when they're passed. So I don't know. I love doing a double stack here of the Vikings and then bringing it back with like a Josh Gordon. It is interesting to note that Gronk, they didn't ease Gronk back in last week. I mean, he basically played every single snap. So
yeah, he's going to block. He's going to block, man. They need him to block. That's what they need him for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had 7 targets, so it's not like they didn't look to him at all. And a few of them were in the end zone. So one he caught, obviously, and then there was 1 or 2 that he missed on, but they looked to him in the end zone. To me, Gronk's a guy, he's got upside regardless, because he's just a freak.
That was a hell of a catch that he brought in.
Yeah, it was. And
it was awesome.
He is somewhat hampered with an injury, but we know that, and he was last week, and he still came out and gutted it out and played the whole game and did okay. So, I mean, if he could have caught 2 touchdowns that game. He has that opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in him. That's why I wanted to get an opinion on, but just kind of down on this. And I'm interested in Diggs too, because even if he gets Gilmore, he's going to get one-on-one coverage, and I just think Diggs can eat against anybody one-on-one.
And Cousins won't shy away in that matchup.
Diggs' targets have been unbelievable the last month.
I mean, when Diggs is healthy, you play Diggs. It's like so simple, like every time, every slate.
You could play them both. If you're stacking Cousins and you could do it, you could play them both.
Being a parent can be really challenging. It's normal to feel uncertain about whether you're doing the right things to raise healthy and happy children. That's why Child and Family Resource Network focuses on connecting pregnant parents and those with kids under the age of 5 with free support services to help them build confidence in their parenting journey. Everyone deserves to have someone they can turn to for support with parenting. Visit childandfamilyresourcenetwork.org today.
All right, what's next on the menu?
Should we go more position by position, or do you guys want to keep just talking about games?
Let's go another game because I kind of like this game a lot, and I feel like it's going to get overlooked.
Yep.
Is the Cleveland-Houston game. So first of all, I think there are a lot of good, not really expensive plays from this game, which I like. Baker Mayfield is at 5,600, I think. Deshaun Watson's at 62 or 63 on DraftKings. 61, sorry. So both those guys I actually kind of like. I love Njoku. I think if you're pivoting off of Ebron, he's a really good pivot. Houston is just terrible against the tight end. You guys saw that Jonnu Smith 60-yard run pretty much that he had. So I do like him a lot. Demaryius Thomas's price for some reason is still at
Monday night game.
Yeah, 4,300. Yeah, because of the Monday night game. So that's a guy who you should definitely look at. But yeah, I like some of those pieces, and I think this game is kind of sneaky from the standpoint. I don't think people are gonna stack it. I think people might take a piece, but I don't think people are going to actually stack this game.
Yeah, I think my favorite play in this whole game is like a very non-sexy play, and it's just Lamar Miller. Guy is consistently, getting the ball still. And 4 of his last 5 games, he's gone over 100 yards. So I don't know. I don't exactly know where his ownership is going to be, but his price tag of only – 4,600 on DraftKings. I really like that's the spot for Lamar for sure.
That's what I mean. They have a ton of affordable plays in this game. Like Lamar Miller's just another guy. I don't know if I'm going to play Lamar Miller, but he's just another guy. I like a running back near him a little bit more.
Yeah, I kind of like Njoku in this game. Texans been giving it up week after week to the tight end position, especially last 3 games, a lot of touchdown to Jordan Reed, Jonnu Smith, and Jeff Hireman, who was gonna go nuts until he got hurt.
Yeah, that was the way you closed the show last week.
Yeah, he was gonna go nuts, and Lacoste stepped in and took his shine away from him. But yeah, so this is a good spot for Njoku if he's healthy, which seemed he had a great catch last week. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, yep. I did see it. It was nice.
Anyway, so he's the guy that I'm kind of looking at. Other than that, I kind of feel like it's stupid, but I feel like this might be a good week to finally get something out of Jarvis Landry. No one's going to want – everyone's completely done with this guy, but and for good reason, I get it. But I think that, from a GBP standpoint, although there's just never really upside with him.
It's just like his percentage of targets that he catches is so low. I do like the Njoku call for sure because it does seem like him and Baker have a thing now each and every week. So, this is the one week where tight end, you're going to get so much leverage on the field if you don't click Eric Ebron this week. So I'm all aboard getting these Njokus that you're going to get for single-digit ownership just because Ebron is going to really soak up so much of the ownership this week.
You really think he's going to be single digits even with Ebron?
Yeah, because mainly because he's at that exact same price, right? If he was at 3,800, I would say no.
Yeah, I think he's going to get single. I think you're right.
I think he might be my barring. Obviously, price included, my favorite tight end. Then
sure, yeah, and
that's awesome.
But that's the main reason, right? Because Ebron's 4,200 and he's 4,300.
Right. No, it makes sense.
If you pay up, you're going to be going up to obviously the Kelsey. Ertz is in on the main slate here, so I just feel like all these other tight ends are going to be probably single digits. I think Kelsey and Gronk will be 2 guys that go over double digits here percentage, but outside of that,
I don't know if Gronk will.
Yeah, I would. It's obviously going to be based upon his health, but if he gets the go ahead, he got all those snaps last week, and I'm gonna want like guys to bring it back because I do like that New England Minnesota game, and I will have game stacks there.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. I got a take on this game. Is this even? This is on the slate, right? The Packers. They're on the main.
Yep. Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be all over Aaron Jones, and I get it. It's home favorite. Wait, they're at home, right?
Packers. They are in Lambeau.
Yep.
Yeah, big home favorite against a bad Cardinals team. I get it. The home favorite running back, and obviously. This is a great matchup, but it's like do or die, the end of the road for the Packers here. And I feel like in that situation, Aaron Rodgers is going to sling the ball, and that's just what's going to happen. They're going to live and die by him, and he's going to force that. And I have a lot more interest. I know this might be a hot take, but I'm all about David Johnson, surprise, surprise, instead of Aaron Jones in this game. I think the matchup is great, and the usage is there. And if they can at least keep this competitive, which I think they can, then this could be an absolute monster game for them.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You love Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball a lot, but you don't like your favorite play isn't Devontae Adams?
I just like the other side. I mean, I do like him. He's got the tough matchup, but he's matchup proof. He beats every tough matchup.
So here's the thing is like we want David Johnson. Obviously, it's pretty good when game script has him trailing from behind because hopefully you would hope that they'd be throwing him the ball more and getting involved in the passing game, which he should be doing. But, I mean, like if you think that, then I think those Packers riders, like Devontae Adams has to be squarely like one of your top plays.
I like him, and I like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, the law firm. I like him. Yeah, I do. I like the passing game.
So
and it's more concentrated. It's more concentrated with Graham, not being able to do much with his ball.
Right.
As a resident Packer fan, I will say this: there's definitely a narrative behind Rodgers this week. It always feels like every year when the Packers get off to a bad start, like he kind of almost has to throw down a gauntlet. Like, yeah, we're gonna win the rest of the games. Well. Not only has he been like saying a lot of stuff in the media about them having to run the table, but then Randall Cobb kind of just in his presser, and I guess Cobb's going to be back this week, is just said that Rodgers is just going to unload this week. So you want to buy into any narratives. Seems like a lot of the media has kind of been pressing them to, say a lot of this stuff, but kind of with you. I'm buying the passing here. And just, they just go off on Arizona. But I don't know if I can bring it back with a DJ here.
Well, there's been 5 running backs who total at least 15 touches against them, which is a bad thing for David Johnson. But of those 5, 3 of them finished as top 8 options. And it's basically through the passing game. And that's where David Johnson excels. And they allow 7.26 yards per target to opposing running backs. We know Leftwich is just going to – at the usage that David Johnson's commanding when the game is somewhat – it's not complete blowout where they then had to stop using him in the fourth is just insane. Like they're throwing to him, they're running him, it's just David Johnson over and over and over again. And – I'm not high on this Packers defense at all, and so I think that he's gonna get overlooked. Everyone's gonna be on Aaron Jones, but this is DJ who's got massive upside.
Packers are hurt at every level too on the defensive side, and they are 31st against pass catching running backs. So that does fit. That definitely fits your little play there for sure.
Big play, not little.
It always helps when you have good logic and then everything starts coming together, right? Like when you start researching the plays.
Yep, that's how I'd make every play, my friend. Solid logic. All right, so we've rambled on for a while here, I think.
Yeah. So one guy that I think is still somewhat mispriced, T.Y. Hilton at $6K. At Jacksonville. It looks like
Ramsey, I think he's going to be out.
Yeah, it looks like Ramsey will be out. It just seems like everything's been negative.
If Ramsey's out, I'm jamming him in everywhere.
Yeah, and it feels like right now, that's the thing. Like if you got Eric Ebron being the chalk, like I'm totally cool with fading Ebron and going T.Y. Hilton everywhere. I'm sure T.Y. Hilton will still be somewhat popular, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people are still going to think Jalen Ramsey, Jacksonville corners, stay away. So maybe he won't be as highly owned as he should be. But I mean, this guy's been a monster of late. Luck's arms looked a lot better, throwing a lot more deeper passes. Yeah, I'm just all about the Indy pass offense here for sure.
Yeah, and I think, too, people see T.Y. and he's not at home, and I think that right there is another thing that they look at. I think a lot of people want to roster him when he's at home. So when he's on the road, I think people just see that and kind of look away sometimes. So I could see the T.Y. Hilton call, especially if Ramsey's out. If Ramsey's out, it's a better play for sure.
They gave up. The Jags. I'm finally on board with that narrative. It's over for them. They don't care, and they're dysfunctional. And if Ramsey's out, it's like full throttle.
Yeah, they definitely looked defeated in Buffalo last week. That's for sure.
All right.
Do we? You guys got anything else for? You guys want to do calls or like?
Yeah, we can do calls. I mean, we didn't talk about. Did we talk about Saquon?
We did.
He deserves
you play Saquon. It's like if you can fit him, it's not hard anymore.
I don't think he's going to be popular at all.
He won't be popular. I think Kareem Hunt's going to be more popular. Aaron Jones, McCaffrey, Gurley, they're all going to be more popular than Saquon.
I mean, the Bears are obviously coming into town, and he's had two pretty easy defenses, the Eagles and the Buccaneers and the 49ers. So he's come off of some pretty easy defensive matchups. I think this spot, it actually turns out okay for him, just because the Giants' O-line is just going to get eaten up by the Bears' D-line. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of drop-offs for him, especially in the second half coming back. This could be something like where he sees like an astronomical amount of targets, somewhere around like the 15 or 16, like I want to say in like week 2 or week 3 he got up there. So
now Odell Beckham came out last week after the game pretty much and said that he would have loved to attack the corners more, but from Philadelphia, but it wasn't in the game plan.
Yeah, now, stuck it to him.
To me, I don't understand how that's not in the game plan. Everyone who rostered Odell, that's pretty much what happened was they did not game plan to pick on the corners of Philadelphia, the 3rd and 4th and 5th string corners of Philadelphia. So this is a team right now where if they're not picking on the Philadelphia secondary, they're not picking on the Chicago Bears secondary. No way.
Right.
So what their plan is for Eli Manning to literally just hand the ball off, drop the ball off, throw 5-yard slants, throwing out, hand the ball off. That is their plan. So from now on, I'm rostering only Saquon Barkley until I start to see him actually pick on defenses for a whole game.
Odell loves being like that guy too, right? Just calling people out, just being all about himself.
He should have, though. They threw a 40-yard bomb to him, and he right in his breadbasket, like 3 plays in, and then they don't go to him for almost the rest of the game until the very end.
Yeah, that was.
How is that even possible? Like, right. What are you doing? What are you doing? I get it, give Saquon the ball, but you got to also take shots.
Any other plays?
I've got the squeaky wheel narrative with Kenny Stills against the Bills. He came out and saying that he can't throw the ball to himself, that he's been getting open all game and they're just not passing to him. And I liked hearing that. And no one's going to play him, and he's going to be super cheap, and he's got big play upside, even though the Bills are tough against the pass. But So that's my squeaky wheel narrative for you.
Nice.
Yeah, I like McCoy in that game too. I think he's my favorite running back under under 5K. He's pretty much the guy who I'm diving down. He's my cheap guy. I think I'm going to have him all over the board.
I ended up getting exposure to McCoy last week. It didn't really work out, but I don't mind going back to the well here.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go there this week. Yeah. You want to do a call and get out of here?
All right, that we just did our calls. So let's get out of here. And
Okay.
let's root for Sabonis to finish strong in these last 7.5 years. And then I can be happy. But all right, that's a wrap. Unless you guys have one last final thing to say, now's your time.
Yeah,
we're good, man.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson is a guy who you could steal cheap. This is a real GPP dart, but 3,500 on DraftKings. If he plays, which I think he practiced today, so it's looking like it. Played a lot of snaps last week. I forget if it was 49 of 60-something or 54 or 60-something, but it was a lot of snaps last week, Brett. All right, so don't worry about that. And he gets a really good matchup. It's going up either against a Dory Jackson or Malcolm Butler. Deep ball, he'll probably get 2 or 3 shots. Like I said, it's one of those where you're looking for that 50-yard bomb play. He's 3,500, but
boys, we didn't even touch on Fournette's suspension.
Yeah, so it's Carlos Hyde and
yeah,
TJ Yeldon's split.
Yeah.
I mean, Hyde's got to be chalk, right, at 3,300.
Yeah, they're both going to be chalky. They should be.
Yeah, I don't know about Yeldon. I mean, Yeldon's obviously going to get more of the pass work there. But
I like Yeldon more than Hyde. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do like Indianapolis, and obviously Indy will be owned due to the Eric Ebron. But I mean, you know, if I'm doing luck TY stacks, I'm gonna want to bring it back with probably one of those running backs for sure.
Yeah, and if you think that Indy's going to be up in this game, then I think it's Yeldon all day. That's my opinion. If you're taking if you think this game's going to be Indianapolis controlling the game and being up, then Yeldon, because they look to him on all the passing downs. They'll give him some carries too, but mainly it's Carlos Hyde, the running back. He gets most of the carries.
Why?
Yeldon gets most of the passing downs. That's what they've been doing.
All right, that's great. Why did they take Montrezl out?
I don't know. I have the game on back here. Who they put in his place?
Did he get hurt?
End the show.
All right, that's it. It's a wrap. This is the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, and we'll catch you next week.